Us in a cheese grater. Okay, I'll do a cheese grater. That can be a black and gray sketch. Let's do that. That'll be fun. All right, cheese grater. Let's do something different. Maybe you hold it like this. I'm not going to show it being held. And then we have just one side to it. Something like this. Maybe the bottom. Yeah, this would be cool. So the bottom of the cheese grater could be like a rubber thing. I actually don't think the handle could work like that. So let's tweak the sketch. Normally I would care and do an overlay and stuff, but I'm not going to this time. Ooh, that's an interesting shape. So from the side, it's kind of like this. This kind of shape, or rather, this kind of shape. Right, so this is the grater portion right there. And this is our handle. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. All right, so you'd hold this thing. This would allow you, you know, if it's like a rubberized anything and it's on a sharp, or not a sharp, but a smooth countertop, it would stop it from moving, right? Important. If you're grating and putting a lot of pressure. Someone asked for a motorcycle. Today we're just doing kitchen stuff. That's what I felt like doing. So that's what we're gonna do. How we do. This is Sketch Day Live. Okay, so now for the part that's gonna suck. So I've got to do a pattern that would allow for grating. Okay. Now, if I were doing this in a real rendering or sketch, I wouldn't just freestyle it. The other thing I might do digitally is I would take a picture of the pattern of a grater and just drop that in. But since we don't have that, we're gonna have to do this old school. All right. So I'm just gonna put some marks here to help me. And for the replay, I will probably fast forward this part just because it's excruciatingly not fun to watch someone do something over and over. I'm not exactly selling myself here, right? But it's just a way for me to, using some light ink, mark out where these stamped surfaces. Usually this is like stamped metal. But it's a good way for me to just at least mark it out. Alright. So I know where it's going to go. It's light enough that it's not going to impact the sketch here. I know what colors I want already. Coffee break. Alright. So now I can take my pen. And I'm trying to remember what these look like, but I think they're kind of like this. Like there's an ellipse of sorts. So I'm just going to draw a series of ellipses. Like so. And they're slightly angled, okay? So these ellipses are slightly angled because what I want to be able to do is just put another line, like so. Just like that. Zoom in so you can see. And that's going to be my cutout in this grater. So that's what's, you know, grating your cheese or coconut or whatever it is you're doing. So slight angle, which makes it hard because my perspective brain wants to change that. Draw with your shoulder if possible. All that good stuff. You know the drill. But if you don't, best recognize. Draw with your shoulder. Alright, there's a couple things we can do to make this go a little bit faster once I get all of these in, but yeah. Time consuming. I've done one of these before just for fun. And I didn't post it because I wasn't super happy with it, but I did learn a lot doing it, so. Okay. We're getting close, guys. Why did I decide to do a grater? This is supposed to take like 15 minutes. There's a couple of things I would do differently just looking at this. So progressively, because these are closer to me, they should be a little bit bigger, and I kind of made that adjustment last minute, but I should have been progressively making these slightly bigger. But I think this kind of works, so it's alright. Also, the spacing on these, it's a little bit off here and there. Alright, so just on the inside of the hole now, a little heavier line where we would normally have the outline for the blender itself, or sorry, the grater. And that's going to give it that three-dimensional look, at least in the holes here. And I'll probably just do a marker wash on this one. That is, if I can find a Copic wide marker that's juicy enough, I'll do it that way. This is Sketch Day Live. Thanks for the suggestions. This is our final sketch. Today's theme was the kitchen. All things kitchen. We did a glass measuring container, a blender, coffee maker, and now a grater. Been using markers, pen. I know there were some questions about digital sketching. I could make Friday a digital show if you guys are interested in that, just all iPad. Or we could save that for Sci-Fi Sunday. Let me know. Best way to do that, follow me on the socials at sketchaday.com. Shoot me an email or drop a comment after the video publishes. Okay, so I've got my holes now. David says sorry. Victor says, Spencer, my paperweight flare smudges when I touch my hand into it while sketching with marker papers. Is it only me? It's not only you. This is Copic marker paper, but I do use Canson marker paper. You just have to get in the habit of not rubbing your hand on the paper, which is easier said than done for sure. So I feel your pain. I get it. But a lot of it's just practice. Okay. Neutral gray time. Let's go. So I'm going to use these to render this. Or not render, but shade. So light till you get it right. This is a neutral gray 3. Now, let's say this is angling up and there's some light here. What you might find, let's see, let me think about this. So on this side, we're going to have shadow. So I'm going to try and map out a little bit of a reflection here, or where we would have that shadowing and the light. So light, I'm going to have, let's see. Let's have the portion closest to us be the lightest. So just outline this real quick. On the back sides of these, we're going to get the shadowing because these are three-dimensional. right, and then up here, maybe we have, you know, something in the environment that's reflecting. I think what I'll do, again, just for the sake of time, is I'm just going to shade this in and then we'll come back and hit it with white. So let's take this neutral gray now and just shade in the whole thing here. Alright, something like this. And light never hits the surface perfectly evenly, so we can create a small or subtle gradient across the front. I think my first Ohuhu marker is drying up. But I've been using these things pretty hard, so I'm okay with that. Alright, so now on the back sides of these, and I'll use a darker marker even to kind of hit and get the reflections that we want in here. Latrice says she would like a show dedicated to sketching on the iPad. Okay, I can do that. What apps do you use, Latrice? Alright, so contrast, I always say this, but contrast is your friend. So don't be afraid to hit your drawing with some contrast. Just like so. I'm using the brush tip of the marker and just kind of kissing the paper in the same way for some of these. You know, and if you want to add some secondary stuff, we can add that as well. Just like that. And now I want a little bit more of a gradient on the front here. So let's jump back to my neutral gray 3. I'm just going to help this out a little bit. Alright, Procreate. I can do Procreate. Sketchbook Pro, I can maybe show a couple things that I like about it, but it won't be a focus. Alright, really what I need is I need a little bit more intensity up here. So I want there to be a nice gradient in that corner, and then just on this edge. Again, lightest lights, darkest darks. Just like that. And now, like I mentioned, we can use the white pens to help this pop even more. And if you don't have a pen and all you have is paint, that's fine too. I'm looking for a specific pen, and as always, the pen has walked away from me. It's not this one. It's a little bit bigger, chunkier version. But that's alright. Okay, so these holes, I'm going to just go ahead and make these white. It was just a lot faster than having to kind of avoid the spaces. Now you can see with that contrast, kind of helps things read a little bit better. Specifically in the areas where we did this wash. Alright, so now it's popping a little bit more. Now on the outside, I do want to kind of kiss each of these Maybe a little bit closer to the light source, a little bit bigger, and then smaller as you go away. And then I'm going to hit it with the black pen here and there just to, again, help it pop, feel right. The thing with reflections is if you just consider what might be in an environment and you understand how mirrors work, it makes a lot of this easier. I'm not going to say easy, but easier to apply and execute. Alright, so back to this black pen, like I said, just on the inside of these. Sup, Rodrigo? ¿Cómo estás? Alright. So that black, like I said, is just going to help the forms read more and the materials as well. So be judicious or thoughtful about where you put the black, but don't be shy about it either. Mistakes are just an opportunity to learn something new. Have fun with your drawings, all that good stuff. All right. Let's get this outline in here. The handle, I want the handle to pop. I want it red. So that's what we're going to do, red. Thank you, Rodrigo. So side, perimeter, highlight. Because this goes flat, actually, our shadow core will be, let's see, this is still the side. Alright, so we'll do something like that. And then right here. So notice how I skipped that line, okay? That is, again, trying to mimic or convey this idea of artifacting or reflections, things in the environment that might be influencing how our grater looks. On the bottom, we have a rubber, so I don't need to worry about the highlights as much. Okay. Like I said, I will upload this to the Google Drive. You can download the high resolution photos or scans. Depends on how I feel that day. I'll scan all of these because I do love you. Just want a little bit more contrast in the blend. How is Mexico, Rodrigo? I was supposed to come in summer, but all of that got changed, you know, with the situation. The Rona. So most of my engagements are going virtual, which has been interesting. I mean, I'm set up for it, but I do like being able to work with people. It's always nice. Being in person. I do workshops from time to time, so if you work with a company, group, whatever, you're interested in, you know, kind of having me for a day, look at your work, give you some tips, kind of help take your stuff to the next level, hit me up. We can do that. Thanks again to supporters. Latrice, our newest Patreon. Thank you. Much love, much appreciated. in all the ways, for all the reasons. Quick shadow here. Yes, the shadow is not perfectly accurate, but more so serves as a means to ground the object to the page, be an expression of three-dimensionality. Alright, so something like that. I do want to separate the product from the shadow just a little bit. So I'll take my Molotow pen here, and just a little bit of white. Just hit that. So now it's popping out a bit more. On this handle highlight area, kind of hit that. Just for texture's sake, I'm gonna put white dots all over this, but I'll show you a way that I like to mute them. Okay, so white dots down there. Let that dry. Right in this area, I wish I had like a, well, I don't wish, I do have one. I have my Copics. I just don't like to use them on these. Alright. Yeah, there we go. It's very, very, very subtle, but it feels better. Just a little bit of cool gray 1 toward the bottom here. And we'll blend this. Very, very subtle, guys. Very, very subtle. But it's there. Wait for it to dry. Yeah, I'm sure we'll meet Rodrigo. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think I might call it there. Maybe just a little outline on the back here. Some style dots. When I say style dots, I mean sometimes I like to put these little dots. I went through a phase of drawing circles all over my sketches way back in the day. Just figure out a way to make your sketch your own, whatever works. There's no hard and fast rule to it, but it does help. Okay, black pencil. Let's see if this will help. I really just want a little bit more of a gradient from this top corner. Yeah, this totally helps. And it's a lot easier to control. So if you're doing this, following along, try and grab a pencil, some shading over the marker. See if that helps out. Happy little grater. Happy grater. So I will have some new merch, specifically stickers, available soon. Great way to support. Thanks again to those who have supported already, whether it's through buying brushes or Patreon or whatever other stuff. There are links on the video frame as well for those who are interested. If you'd rather just make a contribution, that's fine. I know some of you have asked in the past, so that's why I put that link there. Or the mention of the link, rather. Okay, so like I was saying, I have these white dots, and now I can take the marker and just basically shade over the dots. So now it's a layer, or rather the intensity is a lot less, and I can take the red that's next to that one and now create a texture by just stippling. So we have a mid red, a more intense red, a little bit of white poking through, and now it feels more like a texture here on this rubber.